You can't be strong if you can't recognize that sometimes you need to be weak.
Hi, it's Anaiis. We're here at Jaja, my favorite place in Paris. And as part of Martens Presents, I'm here to discuss mental health with some incredible guests. So join us for the conversation. I'm very excited to be sharing with you a project that is very dear to my heart. It all started with my latest song, Juno, which is a song that I wrote at a time where I felt like my whole world was collapsing.
You can always call on me.
It really reminded me how important it is to take care of our mental health. And we developed a deck of cards around mental health with the help of Stella Tienrebeogo, Sana Hassan, and Losa Pardo. And today I want to speak to an incredible group of women and artists in Paris about the subject and how they interact with mental health, both in their personal lives and in their work. Charlotte Abramow is a phenomenal woman, photographer, and director. And I really feel her work is not only empowering, but it's very humanist at its core. So I'm really excited to speak to Charlotte about the importance and impact of intersectional feminism and the connection between empowerment and mental health. Coucou!
Salut!
Ça va?
Ça va et toi?
Ça va, ça va. En fait, je voulais pas te poser cette question. I didn't want to ask you ça va because I had another question for you.
Okay.
It's one of the cards from our decks. It says, how is your heart today?
Today my heart is cool and I'm very lucky to have a wonderful boyfriend, so my heart is quite cool.
That's good. That's beautiful. So you're feeling loved.
Yes.
And cherished and valued.
Yes, and
That's
it's
beautiful.
quite important in this context and all these blurry times.
Definitely.
I feel really lucky to have that.
Definitely, and I feel like right now with the isolation, like people are really dealing with loneliness. I know I've struggled with that sometimes. I'm just like, I'm tired of these four walls and like I just want someone to love, you know?
So much.
So I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, like, because this whole project is around mental health, so I wanted to ask you, what's your journey been with mental health and what role does photography play in that?
Yeah. Actually, my mom is a psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
So I always been sensitive to mental health. My mom always told me to express my feelings, also my bad feelings, to discuss about that. And so I'm very lucky on this side. And I also have close person to me that are suffering from depression. So I know this kind of mental health, and I know that it's such a taboo for a lot of people, even now. And I'm not like a photographer who will capture the image in the street, or I really need to meet the person and to talk with her. And yes, I try to also show the person that she is beautiful, she's valuable, and even if maybe she's not in the standard norms of beauty, she's who she is, and I think it's really important.
And that's where the beauty comes from, like when the person can really be who they are and they're like seen for who they are, which I think is like so crucial.
Of course.
There was one of the cards also that we were writing about healthy conflict in relationships. And I was thinking about like just that on a social level, like we have to be able to have conversations that sometimes are uncomfortable and then maybe a little bit difficult. But like you said, we don't have to turn it into like shame or even blame, but it's more so how can we listen to one another and each other's stories, and sometimes like that's enough, just at least that being the starting point, that we can listen to one another and have a conversation, you know?
I hope because it's true that in these times we have the impression that nobody listens to nobody, and also that that is changing also in a good way, so it's kind of difficult to say it's bad or it's not bad. But yeah, I think that we have to keep the dialogue, but it's kind of difficult, I think, and I understand also that some people are tired of explain or just like ask respect. So I also understand, and maybe also as an ally, I don't live the racism, so I can also speak to my white friends, or economize
Yeah.
some education time.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
also I think it's really important also to educate ourselves alone. Like if you can read
Yeah.
and you can buy a book,
Yeah.
you can just read
Yeah.
and understand some things, and it's okay to learn and to not be aware of that at a time, and then try to change and to understand and to progress.
Yeah, no, definitely. As you were saying earlier, the way you were talking about your photography, you were saying the way that you capture the person, and it made me think about your feminism, because I feel like your work is quite feminist. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Just because it's empowering for women. Like that's what I see when I look at your images. So I wanted to ask you, like, how important do you feel intersectional feminism is to this conversation that we're having around mental health and just social change in general as well?
Of course. Actually, I think my pictures can be feminist because I am feminist, so I have a feminist lens to the world. But as a white person, I discovered that I was white. That's completely dumb to say that, but it's true, because when you grew up as a white person, nobody tells you you are white. And I just understand how there are inequalities beyond women, and I'm just learning every day. And I think it's really important to listen to the people, to understand more their difficulties in their everyday life.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that, because I think then when you show that to people that you understand them, you can just connect and have some bridge and exchange. And I think in that way it's important for a social change.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your time and just speaking about everything so openly. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And thank you for all the beautiful things.
Thank you. That was so smooth. Déborah Lukumuena is a phenomenal actress. She's won some awards for her role in the film Divine. And honestly, she's just an all-around incredible woman. I'm really excited to speak with her about the taboos around mental health and her work, because she's actually writing a film about mental health right now. So I'm excited to get into that conversation. Salut.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your work?
So as you said, my name's Déborah. I'm 26 and I'm an actress. I started 6 years ago with my first movie, Divines, and after that everything went pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, so this whole project, we've done it around mental health, because like I personally went through a really difficult time in the music industry, and I've been kind of like restarting my whole career with an independent, I guess, method now, for lack of better words. And I wanted to ask you, what's your personal journey with mental health, and how does it apply to your work?
I'm from a family of 5 children, and we were raised by my mother. She divorced my dad when I was 6. So I won't say that we were living a survival life. I'm just saying that there weren't room for nothing but vital means, like eating, having a roof on the top of your head, and sleeping well and working well on work. And this type of living just exclude the rest. So we were like educated just to be strong and to endure things and to be like, okay, you have something to eat on your plate, you don't have to complain. And so all of this didn't, I think it made all of us being of anger.
Yeah.
I think I looked into myself and I knew I had an issue. I knew it's because I wasn't heard, because in my childhood there weren't any space for that. And I know that it was something to treat, but it's just then at 20, you cannot ask a young woman of 20 years to just carry this anger, even though she hasn't been taught how to deal with.
Yeah, definitely.
But even looking at my education, I know that I won't educate my children the way I've been educated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not in war against my mom because I know that she didn't have the choice. I don't know if I was to raise my 5 children, if I would do good as she did.
Yeah.
And being at war with my mom would never heal me. I'll just hurt myself and I just feel a lot of more anger. And the good in it is I can fix it.
Yeah. This makes me think a lot about like that theme of resilience and like reframing it in a way where like vulnerability is at the center of that, and that is strength, like to be vulnerable. And as well as what we were talking about when we first met about Black excellence and that theme and how it basically kind of pigeonholes us. It doesn't allow us to be imperfect and to be sad sometimes. And
it's the topic of it's one of the subjects of my script because we have been told to put pressure on ourselves so bad. And now for a lot of people in our community, I speak, it's like normality to be good and to be excellent and not to be weak. And that's what I'm talking about in my script. I want to create a character who meets success everywhere, and because he meets his sister who he is at peace with the fact that she is not good, it will just upset his whole life. And I think it's something that our community needs to hear, because finally you can't be strong if you can't recognize that sometimes you need to be weak.
Yeah, absolutely. This makes me think a lot about like the importance of therapy. Like I personally, we made these cards because I feel like I'd never really had access to therapy. And even like recently when I was going through really difficult moments, I just couldn't fathom the idea of spending £80 for a session, one session. I'm like, there's no way I can't do this. I can't afford this, because it didn't feel like a priority. I felt like I can do this on my own, or I can figure this out. And obviously everyone will not have access to therapy. So I want to play my part in just giving the most information to people as I can. But I just wanted to talk to you about that. Like, how do we prioritize our mental health, like as people of color, and even to consider going to therapy and like starting that conversation? Like, I don't know at what point that came into your life. And
yes, for me it was particular because I was in drama school and I started therapy in second years after an argument with one of my schoolmates. And I remember I felt the relief of finally talking to someone who won't judge me, who doesn't know my past until I tell him. And it felt good, but it felt good because I knew I needed that. And but my situation is quite bourgeois because I'm from a drama school, so I have access to a drama school in Paris, so I have access to some structures it was easy for me to contact a therapist and just go.
And so just to finish off, I had something I wanted to bring up.
Sorry,
which is,
I talk too much.
No, it's good. I love it. I was gonna just say, a lot of this work is very exhausting. I think on just a lot of levels, like on the collective level, on the personal level. And I wanted to ask you, what does rest look like for you?
Rest, it's like listening to music. No, rest is talking to my mom.
Yeah. Wow, that's
I think.
Cool. Yeah.
Because sometimes, I'm all over the place about the problem I have with my career, appointments, casting, all these superficial things. My mom works with children.
Yeah. And
just talking to her, it makes me just think that, okay, it's just cinema, it's just work. It's not essential. Your mom isn't doing as a great job as you are, but she is happy and she has her own issue, and just watch your mom living. And I think being with my family, finally, it's resting because I'm just Déborah. And from all the people of the world, they are the one who knows me best.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing everything with
Thank
me
you.
and just being so passionate and open. It's really refreshing and it's incredible. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Néhémie Lemal, who's a bold and radical filmmaker. I recently watched her latest film, On ne peut plus rien dire, and I was very moved by her perspective and by the honesty in her work. So I'll be speaking to her about creativity and the importance of storytelling around mental health. Hello.
Hello.
Ça va?
Oui, ça va et toi? Fine.
Ça va. So I saw your film On ne peut plus rien dire, and I thought it was very powerful, and there was just so much passion in it, and I could really relate to the themes that you were talking about. And so I wanted to know, what's your personal relationship with mental health, and how do you talk about it through your creativity and in your work?
Bah, justement, moi, quand j'ai fait mon premier film, on ne peut plus rien dire, par rapport à mon afro, les insultes, etc., c'était exactement ça qui s'est passé. Dans mon cercle familial, je me sentais très bien. Dans mon cercle amical, je me sentais très bien avec moi-même. Du coup, j'ai porté mes cheveux naturels. Et c'est quand je suis sortie dans la rue, etc., et que je me suis affirmée, qu'on m'a fait comprendre que j'étais un problème et qu'on a essayé de me mettre à ma place. Et du coup, ça, je pense que ça a vraiment affecté ma santé mentale. C'est-à-dire que je me suis posé des questions dans le fait que, qu'est-ce qui va pas, quoi? En fait, moi, je me sens bien dans ma peau, mais on me dit de me plier aux règles. Même quand je suis à l'école, autre chose, on me demande de me plier aux règles dans le cercle du travail. Et je pense que une afro ou peu importe, n'importe quelle coiffure ne t'empêche pas de faire ton travail.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel that the narratives that we see repeated in mainstream media affect people's mental health? And what do you think is the role, at least your role as a filmmaker, in changing that?
Moi, de ce que je sais, c'est que quand j'étais plus jeune, enfant, toutes ces images ne m'impactaient pas. Malgré que je le voyais et que je ne me sentais pas représentée et que j'étais frustrée. Mais ça ne m'impactait pas. Mais il y a un moment donné où on entre dans la vie d'adulte et on est impacté on vit plus d'oppression. Ouais. Exemple pour logement, etc., autre chose. Et c'est beaucoup plus problématique. Et là, ça t'impacte. Ouais. Et là, ça devient plus compliqué. Donc oui, je pense que on doit avoir de nouvelles images, on doit avoir de nouvelles représentations. Je pense qu'on en a besoin. Je pense que rien que pour tenir et pour espérer, parce que c'est réellement tout ce qu'on a, je pense. Et en fait, en France, il y a un problème avec ça, justement, de cette nouvelle représentation. Exemple, je le vois comme avec mon deuxième documentaire. Ça a été une problématique par rapport à la diversité. Quand je leur ai dit que c'était un truc qui se tournait à la campagne, mais il y a une fille noire dedans, mais c'est à la campagne. Et c'est pas dans les grandes villes. En fait, on a besoin de cette nouvelle représentation, mais est-ce qu'on nous laisse la faire, cette nouvelle représentation? Je pense que c'est ça la vraie question.
Ouais,
non?
Tout à fait. Ouais, tout à fait. You touch on a lot of very difficult subjects in your work, from grief to racism. And so I wanted to ask you, actually, how do you take care of yourself amidst that? Because actually one of the cards that we've written is about joy and the importance of finding those moments of joy in our everyday life. And so I wanted to ask you, what is joy for you?
Moi, j'ai passé plus de temps là dernièrement à être vraiment énervée, tout le temps, à me réveiller énervée, à penser, à être révoltée, à penser qu'à ça, parce que je supportais pas toute l'oppression qu'on subissait, qu'on subit encore. Ouais. Et là, dernièrement, j'ai eu des problèmes de santé et je me suis un peu retrouvée isolée, seule. Et du coup, il y a 2 semaines, il y a une amie d'enfance avec qui je parlais plus trop, qui est venue me rendre visite et qui m'a dit je suis pas là je suis pas là pour te juger, je suis là pour toi et je serai toujours là pour toi. Mais n'importe quel choix tu feras, et même si tu fais les mauvais choix, tu vois.
Ouais.
Et ça, ça a été vraiment très important pour moi. Et ça a été un truc ça a été une réelle joie pour moi. Enfin, c'est un truc vraiment important pour moi. Je me suis dit enfin, je me sens écoutée. Pourtant, j'étais allée dans des groupes de parole. Pourtant, j'avais essayé de compenser ça avec des films, etc. et tout. Mais j'avais toujours cette colère. Ouais. Je sais qu'il y a des gens qui m'ont dit oui, normalement, après un film, on est calme et tout. Mais toi, je sens que t'es encore énervée. Et j'arrivais pas. Et tu penses qu'à ça tout le temps, quoi. Ouais, et là, vraiment, j'ai une amie qui me connaît depuis très longtemps et qui me dit, genre, même si demain t'arrêtes ou t'es fatiguée ou autre chose, t'as le droit d'être fatiguée.
Exactement.
Je t'accepte, quoi.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that to feel heard and to feel seen and to be loved unconditionally is very much a source of joy. So I wish you a lot of joy and thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story with me. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. I really hope that the conversations were meaningful for you and that they will inspire you to continue the conversation around mental health within your circles. Thank you again so much to my guests, to all my incredible collaborators, and to Doc Martens for making this whole project possible and helping us turn it into a reality. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Sorry, I don't know why I said that.